Welcome to Power Up with NSA North Texas, a show about finding, hearing, and maximizing valuable insights from some of the world's leading business and lifestyle speakers. Each week, international keynote speaker and National Speakers Association North Texas chapter president Betti sits down with some of the most exciting speakers this side of the globe to hear from these subject matter experts what's making a difference in business today and learn all there is to know about people, profits, and productivity in business from some of the world's best motivators. This is Power Up with NSA North Texas. And now, here's your host, Betti Coffee.
Hi everybody, I'm your host, Betti Coffee, president of NSA North Texas, and I want to welcome you to our NSA North Texas podcast show. The NSA National Speakers Association is the premier organization for professional speakers. Our members reach audiences as authors, as thought leaders, as consultants, as coaches, as trainers, as educators, as motivators, and we do that every day. This show is going to give you the opportunity to hear some of the absolute cutting edge, most recent ideas to improve productivity, to reduce costs. It's very exciting. These are the topics that organizations want to hear about and have at their meetings and events. And you're going to hear about them from our own subject matter experts, our own professional speakers. I am so excited today to have Dr. Mary Warren. This is a powerhouse, guys, in information, in health. It's cutting edge, and this is what we want to hear, especially as we move into the holidays. Our guest today is Dr. Mary Warren. She is the owner of Road Warrior Wellness and Vital Force Wellness and has been practicing, studying, and researching in the field of holistic healthcare for over 25 years. She works with businesses and organizations that want to be healthier, that want to increase their productivity, improve employee retention, reduce healthcare costs, and reduce work-related injuries and sick time, which we all know costs a lot of money. She has the Road Warrior Wellness Handbooks and Get Yourself Out of National Deficit, The Good, the Bad, and the Bankrupt, which we're going to hear a little bit later on. She's enthusiastic about wellness, which I just love. And she's very, very healthy, and she's going to teach us, whether here on the show today or also in speaking engagements, workshops, consulting, writing internationally. She's wonderful. Dr. Warren is a professional member of National Speakers Association and has achieved the Distinguished Toastmasters designation, and she is phenomenal at bringing to your groups. Based in Dallas, Texas, she obtained her doctorate of chiropractic at Parker University in January 2000 and is licensed in both the United States and Canada. So what you're about to hear today from Dr. Mary Warren is how to get back on the road to health and do it now. Dr. Mary Warren she tells us, after years of experience using her dietary guidance and nutritional, herbal, and homeopathic supplementations, how she got started. She got started in seeing more people coming to her practice that were traveling. And we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about her process, how it's a process-driven format. She works with people that want to look better, be more productive, and improve their quality of lives. So much about hearing from me. Let's really get to Dr. Mary Warren. I'm so happy to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you, Betti. It's awesome to be here.
So tell me about how you got into wellness and how it all started.
Well, like many people that get into wellness, I myself was sick. However, prior to being sick, I had been looking at options for getting into holistic healthcare because I was in the interior design world. And
wow.
Yes, and very stressful,
difference.
very stressful. Oh. And now our running joke is I really do work in interior design because
our interiors,
the most important interiors. So yes, that's how it really all started back 25 years ago.
25 years ago, that's how it started. Wow.
Yes.
So in your clinical practice now, today, what are you seeing? What are the problems that are coming into your front door and asking for help?
Well, some of the most common things that I've seen for years, Betti, are sleep problems, digestion problems, and fatigue. And then, of course, we've got chronic fatigue for a lot of people, more with women, I think, than men. But those are some of the most common problems I see.
I think they're hitting all of me, all three of them. Digestion, sleep, and chronic fatigue. That can really...
I mean, pain too, of course. Being a chiropractor, I've seen lots of people that are driven in by pain. And then we find that there are all of the other issues like poor digestion and poor sleep and fatigue that, lead to that.
That impact both our professional and personal
Oh,
lives
absolutely.
tremendously.
Absolutely. Great point.
So what's causing this? What are the trends you're seeing today that are related to how we're feeling?
Well, great question, because one of the first things I noticed in clinical practice way back in 2000 was, and as what I saw as my biggest problem, was dehydration. Absolutely, positively, the biggest problem I saw in clinical practice was dehydration.
I'm going to drink some water
Grab
right now.
your water right now. And then after that, I started noticing that people's eating patterns and eating habits were really contributing to pain and inflammation and chronic pain patterns. And I had learned a lot through my dad, who was a chronic diet soda drinker. And he was a very intelligent man and had a master's in biology and a minor in chemistry. However, he was addicted to artificial sweetener soda. And so I learned a lot about how that impacted his neck and shoulder pain, and how he would see I considered her his second daughter, a massage therapist, at least once a week. And he would be really good for 2 or 3 days, and then he would revert right back to being in pain again. So it taught me a lot about how things impact us that we're eating and drinking, Betti. And that's really what prompted, so many classes, so many handouts, so many PowerPoint presentations, talks, public talks, professional talks.
Yeah.
And that then contributed to The Good, the Bad, and the Bankrupt, Get Yourself Out of Nutritional Deficit, the book. Because if people understand that really it's about what we're eating all day long, as I've said for years, I can send you out of my office with all the best homeopathy, nutrition, and herbs that are available under professional, clinical license. However, what you're putting in your mouth all day long is what's really driving the bus.
How long, give me some good news here, how long does it take if you're at a deficit and you've been eating wrong, you haven't drinking enough water, how long does it take to get your body turned around?
That's another great question, because a lot of it really depends on, first of all, your age. I mean, really, the younger we are, the quicker
Faster.
and the easier and the faster we respond. Absolutely. However, don't be discouraged about that, because as an example, I see people in their 60s and 70s all the time, Betti, and just adding things in first, like good water and better nutrition and better foods, maybe organic beets and organic carrot juice. I mean, going more to, wild fish and free-range poultry and grass-fed beef, things that are of a higher...
Really makes a difference.
It's a higher nutritional content and a lower toxicity content. So when you start doing that, you can start seeing changes in your body in as little time as 2 weeks.
That's wonderful.
Again, depending upon your age and what you're doing and how bad things are.
So our bodies are resilient,
We
right?
are massively resilient. We are
that.
amazingly elastic. Our bodies always take the higher road. And I've said this for years. Our bodies always take the higher road, for sure.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's fantastic.
That's exciting.
It is very exciting.
That's
and
hopeful.
It should give, exactly, it should give all of our viewers hope and inspiration that, just putting aside some of the things that we don't need will make really great impacts, because our bodies will so quickly go back to the high road.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a positive.
Yes.
So I know you could be talking about anything. What made you want to talk about wellness?
Well, because it's so prevalent in terms of people not having wellness. But as far as taking things from a clinical perspective into the business world, again, just like in the introduction, when you've got people in the workplace that are not as productive as they could be, that's a monetary issue. When you have people that are leaving your employment because they don't feel like they're really a part of the team, because they don't have some of the things that come from a good wellness program, that's a monetary issue. When you have claims, high claims in your insurance, claims, sick time, out time, this sort of thing, that's a monetary issue. And so, this adds up. and
how
it adds
people
up quickly. Sure.
right, how people perform on the job, where their heads are at.
That's right.
And their bodies
That's
are,
right.
are in pain or just not feeling that hot or whatever. You're
Well,
not going to be able to think right.
Yes, exactly. And I think a lot of Americans reach for caffeine to spark that,
Yes.
you know, quick, like, okay, I need to like have a pickup, you know, I'll reach for a cup of coffee or a soda or whatever that might be. And unfortunately, that's not a good long-term strategy. It's just not. I mean, that's where water is a better strategy. Green tea, I mean, you know, there you can still have some caffeine, but just dial it back a bit. Green
Gotcha.
tea, yeah.
So, as you look at businesses and organizations in our world today, what do you see as some of the health concerns going forward?
Well, I think for everyone, whether it's personally or professionally, I think number one, type 2 diabetes, which is absolutely positively a result of overweight and obesity. I mean, Betti, we know now factually that 2/3 of this amazing country is either overweight or obese.
Two-thirds?
2/3. 2/3 of this country. And that absolutely positively leads to type 2 diabetes, which then, of course, leads to other degenerative diseases. And type 2 diabetes is a disease of insufficiency.
Really?
It's a disease of insufficiency, right? So we don't have enough insulin being taken up because we don't have enough receptor sites that are saying, come to me. We don't have enough vascular integrity, which is why we end up with peripheral neuropathy. So it's a disease of insufficiency. So I would invite our viewers to really think about, you know, flipping this whole thing, because the insufficiency is a result of overeating,
Right.
over calories. And our next week's guest, Randy Pennington, and I talked back years ago about some things, and I love that he gets the whole calorie neutral thing. And I talk to people about this all the time because I don't really talk about weight loss, but I talk about weight mathematically. And I always liken it to this. Good weight management is really the inverse of good financial planning. Because if you want to, it's the inverse of good financial planning. Because if you want to lose weight, your outgo or your outflow has got to exceed your income. It just has to. It's math.
Right.
You've got to generate and burn more calories if you want to lose weight. If you want to stay calorie neutral throughout the day, like Randy Pennington and I talked about, then you're looking at, okay, what am I bringing on board? What am I doing for exercise and generating energy and moving things?
It's a balance sheet.
It is a balance sheet. Right. So again, and I'm not a big math girl. You know, we've got Mary Kelly. She's our economics. You know, we've got all kinds of chapter members who are more economically driven. But I just look at it from the standpoint of, you know, you need to be calorie neutral, like Randy and I talked about years ago.
I love that. I love that. I like that way of thinking about it. Kind of a different.
That's
sometimes just a little different way of looking at something gives you a whole different philosophy.
It does.
And energy to start it up.
I think so too.
I hear you. So, oh my gosh, I'm afraid to ask this next question because I know it's going to be extreme. But what are the social costs of poor health today?
Oh my goodness, that is an extreme answer. You're right about that. The social cost, number one, healthcare. I mean, we cannot really continue to sustain the type of healthcare system that we have in place right now, where people are not as inclined to take responsibility for their health and well-being, because I think Americans, again, we have so much. We live in such an abundant culture that we have this idea of, well, I'll just do this until it doesn't work any longer, and then I'll just get that fixed. I'll just have surgery.
And that's a boomer thing, right?
That is a boomer thing. I'll just have that removed, or I'll just get that fixed, or whatever it may be. And our medical system is not going to be able to continue sustaining this. I think what we'll find and what we'll see over the coming, 3 to 5 years is people will start to see more responsibility taken and benefits from taking responsibility. Excuse me.
That's going to be huge.
I think it'll be huge.
Wow.
I mean, right now, It's a big monetary issue in terms of healthcare claims. And that's why, again, for companies, businesses, to be able to drive down healthcare claims because your employees are taking a bit more responsibility and making more sensibly healthy choices is a total win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Which is the best.
Especially when you want to keep those very, very talented, wonderful people out there.
Absolutely.
Keep them healthy.
Absolutely.
Right.
High functioning.
That's right. So what can we do? What would you suggest to take care of some of these detrimental problems and turn that road? Just turn it around.
Well, first of all, start drinking more water.
Okay.
That's just such a basic. Every day, drink more water. I like to tell people drink half your weight in ounces a day, right? So if you weigh 150 pounds, that's about 75 ounces of water a day.
75
Which,
ounces.
again, it needs to be throughout the day,
Okay.
not all at one time, not 4, 5, 6 ounces. I mean, you can have 2 or 3 ounces at one
could do
time.
that.
Eat a cleaner diet. So, again, more vegetables, clean animal protein, reduce grains. That's a big one for Americans.
Reduce grains.
Reduce your grains. Definitely get rid of white rice, pasta, bread.
Yes.
And people say to me all the time, Betty, oh, well, I love bread. Well, of course, who doesn't love bread? But bread doesn't like me. So it's not a two-way street love affair. So bread's an easy one to get rid of.
Even whole wheat?
Even whole wheat. I know. The other thing is get more sleep. 7 to 8 hours on a regular nightly basis is absolutely critical for good health. We produce more growth hormone on our own without taking on anything externally before midnight than at any other time during the day.
Really?
And growth hormone really replenishes cells. It replenishes tissues, glands, organs. Then last, and most importantly, I guess as much as anything, is movement or exercise.
Yes.
And I love to tell people that 10 minutes a day is better than 0 minutes. So even if you're just getting on the floor and stretching or going for a walk around the block, stay in motion. Do something every day. It's great for your brain. It's great for your body's neurology. It's great for digestion. It's great for sleeping. I mean, movement and exercise is great for everything.
Well, you taught me something last week. Just for our listeners, Dr. Mary and I, we went to lunch last week. And we went and I had some water. She was very happy I got the water. But as soon as we sat down at the table, I pulled out one of my water additives, supplements, to give it a more flavor and to give it more pizzazz, which I've been doing a lot of lately. Oh my gosh, as soon as I looked at her face, you looked at me like,
Well, I
Betty.
waited. No, that's actually not true. I waited. I waited. Because I find people don't like that. People don't like that. And so I don't
know.
do that.
But
I did wait.
we made after she talked to me at our lunch, I made a deal with her. And I said, okay, for the next month, I will not, because I was carrying around these water additives in my bag. I had, how many did I put down on the table and put in the trash?
I think 6,
I
7.
had six in my handbag. And so I took them out.
Excellent.
Out.
That's
And
so
I have not had
fantastic.
one since.
I love it.
Trying to
I love
perk
it.
up my water with
And
lemon,
your skin
lime.
already looks better.
I hope so.
Your skin already looks better.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
here's the problem, if I may, super
Sure.
quick. The problem with artificial sweeteners is, like with anything we put into our body, there's a scale or a span of like everything that's like white to black, okay? And water is in the white scale. It requires very little breakdown, detoxification. It's more of an additive or a nourisher versus something that's on the black end of the scale, like a poison or even pharmaceutical drugs are really hard to break
Yes.
down and
Yes.
detoxify.
Yes.
And so we have all shades of gray in between white and black. Well, things like artificial sweeteners are on the black end of the scale. And as I like to tell people, and please check me out, don't take my word for this, unfortunately, aspartame, which is in and of itself not good for us, it breaks down to methanol, which further breaks down to formaldehyde, which further breaks down to formic acid. And these are carcinogenic breakdowns. So this is, and again, as I learned from my dad back a couple of decades ago, these are substances that collect in our tissues and they collect in our lymph nodes. They don't move quickly. They don't move out of our system and out of our tissues quickly. So that was one of the reasons that I really got into this with people in my practice.
Well, you've been wonderful, and I'm looking forward to calling
Yes.
you in 1
Me
month.
too.
And saying,
I know. I think it's going to
Dr.
be
Mary,
great.
I stuck with my word,
That's
and
right.
I did it. So
You will. You will.
okay,
Hannah.
So, all right, you've got our attention. So I know that you speak to numerous businesses, organizations, companies. You are focusing on the aviation community right now.
I am.
For your speaking and consulting work. Tell me why you chose aviation, especially right now. We're around the holidays, guys. Why aviation?
Well, because when that forward door closes and that cabin is pressurized, everything starts to change in our bodies. Oh. And for people that work by traveling or travel for work on a frequent and regular basis, it tends to tear our bodies down because our bodies are under pressure in the cabin, and we're always dry and dehydrated, of course, because it's an air-controlled environment. And then again, if you're traveling for work, you're going to go from an airplane, most likely to a convention hotel or some sort of hotel with, again, environmentally dried, air controlled. And most people when they're traveling don't get out and do enough exercise. Most people when they're traveling don't get enough sleep. Most people when they're traveling make, compensations and, indulgence and rewards-based choices for food and beverages. So it's just a really easy, good area to help people get things cleaned up and just take simple steps. This is not complex. No. I am not about complexities here. I'm really not. But with aviation, I look at it because I love aviation, and I think this is a great business sector that needs so much help.
I think you're right.
And needs a lot of support. And so I'm really targeting defense contractors, commercial aviation, private aviation, and air medical transport, because these are people that are under a lot of stress day in and day out, because they're the ones that are taking us to our destinations, right?
That's wonderful.
So they need some love.
That's right. They need love.
They
That's
do.
right. I like that. So how do you use your key strengths to transform your client's health and well-being? How do you use those strengths? What's the thing you really go back to and rely on?
Okay, Betty, this is one of my favorite questions of all. Thank you. I am a problem solver. I'm an absolute total problem solver. So wherever I am, it's like you drop me in any location and I'll look at, okay, what's going on? And first of all, in StrengthsFinder vernacular, I'm a maximizer. And then I'm very strategic. So what I like to do with people is I like to go very deep and connect the dots and figure out what's going on and then maximize.
So it kind of like simple works, right?
That's right. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I said that is my axiom.
Simple works. And we should be able to take that in. It's not rocket science.
Yeah. Well, and again, simple tends to be more on that wide end of the spectrum. Gotcha. Simple is always going to be on the wide end of the spectrum.
So, okay. So if we all listen to Dr. Mary Warren and we take heed of everything she's saying, where are your clients going to be? Where's Betti going to be 3 to 5 years from now if we take your words to heart?
You are going to be moving and having a great time in life. You are. First of all, you're going to be moving easier. You won't have the pain. You won't have some of the, hitches and the get along. You'll be much more comfortable on your horse. You'll be able to ride longer and just have a great time.
Good.
Because you realize, how important sleep is, how much better you feel. As I like to say to people, water is the fastest, easiest, cheapest way to feel better almost immediately.
That's good.
So when you're
so easy.
It is so easy.
So easy for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want people to know about your books. So tell me about your books. You have the Road Warrior Wellness Handbooks.
I do. Here it is.
And tell me about that.
So the Road Warrior Wellness Handbook, Betti, thank you for asking, was written for the business consumer or the business traveler. And these get modified for whichever client I'm working with. And what this does is it basically...
Customized.
Yeah, absolutely. And it gets simplified down from the good, the bad, the bankrupt, get yourself out of nutritional deficit, because not everyone has the time to get through all of this. The business traveler, really, you need the meat of the matter. And what I do with the good, the bad, what I do with the Road Warrior Wellness is I really configure it to bookend trips so that you're looking at what can we do before we travel, what can we do while we're traveling, and what can we do when we get back from traveling. So you want to bookend your trips so that you've got like get ready and then recovery mode.
I love that. And it's customized.
Yes, it is. And then there are checklists. There are lots of nice, easy checklists. in all of these, the good, the bad, the bankrupt, their checklist and or self-quizzes at the end of each chapter. Both of these are designed to be interactive because no one wants just like, paragraphs of information. Yeah. So there are checklists and bullet points and
they look like they're going to be easy to read and easy to take with you. And
yes, thank you.
They're going to be lasting a long time. I love that. Yes. Okay, so how can our listeners get your books?
They can buy these through my website. I believe we've got the information here for our viewers today.
Go ahead and tell everybody how they can contact you.
Okay. Dr. Mary at road-warrior-wellness.com. That's Dr. Mary at road-warrior-wellness.com. And my office number is 214-363-3377.
One more time.
214-363-3377. And I'm based right here in Dallas. My website is, again, the roadwarriorwellness.com with dashes. Those are available, so we are able to send those out to you if you'd like a copy. And if you'd like me to come in and do work in your business, certainly let me know, and we'll get one of those for all of your employees.
That's awesome. I got a question for you.
Okay.
And this is a question she has had no clue I'm going to ask. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So I'm lucky I get to go over to a good friend's home for Thanksgiving, but what are you having for your because Thanksgiving, historically, people eat too much, then they go lay around, they unbutton their pants or their shirts, they watch football, and
Well, first of all, yeah, absolutely.
So talk to me about, if we have a chance to do good work tomorrow, what should we be doing?
Okay, first of all, as I like to tell everyone about the holidays, it's a day. It's a meal. Really. Exactly. So don't be all rigid about this. It's a day, it's a holiday, in fact, and it's a meal. So enjoy yourself, but maybe take a smaller bit of stuffing or a smaller bit of dressing, but have these things. I find I'm always really good with meals until I let myself go for the dessert.
I know.
And then I'm stuffed.
That's my weakness.
You know what I mean? Once I've had dessert, then I'm stuffed. I was thinking, wow, why have I done this again? So maybe just a little piece of pie, with a good big dollop of, serious whipped cream, not the canned stuff, the real thing.
And then get up and exercise before we go watch football?
Actually, what's funny? That's a great question. That's a great remark, Betty, because growing up, when we'd go over to Orlando, where my relatives were, where I was born, all of the girls, my aunt, my mom, and my aunts, and all the girl cousins, we'd all go out and go for a walk after Thanksgiving Day meal. Yes. And it was really fun. It wasn't like, a power walk. It was just out to go walk through the neighborhood, down to the lake, and then come back. Smart. And it really, it's actually good, because then you can come back and have a second little piece of pie.
There you go. There you go.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
There you go. So if you want to leave our audience with just a short phrase or what you want them to remember today, what is it?
Get on the road to wellness now.
Get on the road to wellness, guys. So get a hold of Dr. Mary if you have any questions. She is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Betty.
Help me with my one month commitment here to Dr. Mary and making sure I don't use any more of this stuff.
Yay, Betty, yay.
And I can perk up my my water with lemon, with limes, with cucumbers.
That's right.
Fruit, all that stuff.
Throw a raspberry in there, a strawberry in there.
That's what I'm going to go do. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
It's been
Betty.
fantastic today.
Fantastic.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being with us. Remember, it's all about powering up to be better, faster, and stronger. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Power Up with NSA North Texas. To find out more about today's guest or NSA North Texas, visit www.speaker.org. To find out more about Power Up, visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/groups/NSA North Texas. And to find out more about Betti, visit www.betticoffeepresents.com.